Black codes were a series of laws restricting black people's rights to own property, do business, buy land, and move freely around the country. These codes followed 2 years after the Civil War in 1865 and 1866. Though the Civil War ended in Union victory and Lincoln responded with the Emancipation Proclamation, which attempted to end slavery forever, there was little acceptance in all southern states, causing revolts across the South. Though former slaves fought for independence in the early years of Reconstruction, white landowners proceeded to control the labor force by integrating a system similar to slavery in the form of black codes. States criminalized men who were out of work or who were not working at a job whites recognized. Mississippi and South Carolina were the first southern states to implement black codes. Mississippi law required blacks to have written evidence of employment, and if they left before the end of the contract, they were subject to arrest. In South Carolina, the law prohibited blacks to have any job other than a servant or farmer, unless they paid a high annual tax to work in another job. Throughout 1865 and 1866, all southern states implemented black codes into their laws with the primary purpose of controlling black labor. All former Confederate states passed strict labor contract laws, and those who broke these laws were subject to beatings, arrest, and forced into unpaid labor for white farmers. These laws were enforced by an all-white police force that mainly consisted of Confederate veterans of the Civil War. Many states allowed prisoner labor for public work projects, which created a system that included incentives for arresting black men, since felons were given to planters as workers. Though restricted heavily under black codes, African Americans were given some freedoms during the years of Reconstruction, including marriage freedom, the right to own property, and the right to trade. The North was furious about the black codes in the South, as they saw the laws as another form of slavery attempting to refute the Civil War's results. In response, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which expressed that all citizens are equally protected by the law. Soon after, in 1867, the Reconstruction Act was passed, which required that Southern states ratify the 14th Amendment that granted equality to former slaves under the Constitution. Along with the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment was adopted in 1870, which expressed that no citizen could have their right to vote taken away on account of race or color. This event was significant in history as it showed how even with the abolition of slavery after the Civil War, blacks were still subject to another form of slavery, and that white plantation owners wished to conserve their supremacy and survival of plantation agriculture. Though the Civil War had been fought to end slavery in America, black codes showed just how much citizens still had to learn in the form of acceptance and equality. Many historians have connected black codes and the end of slavery to the decolonization of Asian and African nations. Decolonization was important in terms of political change in Asia and Africa, but it had little significance because of continued economic exploitation across the nations. Similarly, black codes and the end of slavery in the U.S. had little effect on the global economy and international trade, which gives question as to how impactful black codes actually were.